Yo, what's good guys? Welcome back to a brand new video. Today we're going to be doing a reaction type video. Just going to be looking at CBS's new mock draft from 6 hours ago. And I've looked at a little bit of it in terms of the players who were taken, where they were taken. And it was pretty bad. Like, a lot of things I do not agree with. Just the title, 2024 mock draft, Caleb Williams falls to an unexpected team outside the top 5. And the Falcons trade for Justin Fields. I don't know if that's trading up or whether that's just a draft night trade. Like AJ Brown was a draft night trade from the Titans to the Eagles. But yeah, Caleb Williams falling out of the top 5, which is pretty crazy. And just jump right into it with the first pick. Oh, by the way, this mock draft right here, with the or not this mock draft, this podcast, I've listened to it before. I don't know if this was the exact podcast that made these picks because I know they do mock drafts and stuff like that. But I've listened to their podcast before, and the mock draft wasn't bad, the one that they made. And this one's a lot different from the one that was like I think it was a month ago or something. But just to start off, Drake Maye with the first overall pick. I mean, I don't hate it because he has he has the talent to be a first overall pick, but I just don't see him over Caleb Williams in terms of quarterback rankings. Especially if the Bears want to pick a quarterback, I think Caleb Williams is definitely the better player at 1. So I guess I'll give this like grades. I'd give this one like a B, B minus, just because I feel like this is an easy Caleb Williams pick. At 2, the Patriots also pass up on Caleb Williams and go take Jayden Daniels. Now this one I think is a little bit different. Like I might give this grade a little bit higher than the B minus I gave. I mean, actually, I'll give the Bears a C plus for that one. I might give this one a little higher than a C plus, just because I feel like the Patriots aren't really the team to pick a guy like Caleb Williams. I think Jayden Daniels is definitely, he's the more mature quarterback. He spent 5 or 6 years in college, just coming off a Heisman, has shown his dual threat ability. So I think obviously if it was Caleb Williams and Jayden Daniels on the board in real life, I'd say Caleb Williams. But I don't mind Jayden Daniels right here at 2. But with Caleb Williams on the board, it's still pretty crazy. I'll give this one a C+, just slight grade better than Drake Maye. At 3, Marvin Harrison Jr. to the Cardinals. 100% agree with that one. I like it. At 4, Olu Fashanu to the Commanders. 100% agree with that one. I like it. Those two I mocked in my mock draft as well. At 5, Laiatu Latu to the Bears. I had Malik Nabers. But I don't mind Laiatu Latu at 5, especially to a team like the Bears who needs to bring pressure. Not a great quarterback sacking team. They don't generate a lot of pressure. So get a guy who's arguably edge number 1 in this class, Laiatu Latu. I don't mind him at 5. I'll probably give this, or I'll give Olu Fashanu and Marvin Harrison both A pluses. I gave Laiatu Latu like a B plus. I think most importantly, especially if you're gonna go new quarterback in Drake Maye, you need more wide receivers on that roster. So I have them go Malik Nabers. But if you think that Drake Maye can just work with DJ Moore and DJ Moore by himself, so be it. So Laiatu Latu is not a terrible pick, but I would go Malik Nabers here at 5. At 6, Caleb Williams. I mean, if he falls to 6 and the Jets don't feel like drafting Aaron Rodgers, not replacement, but the next guy up, then I could definitely see a team like the Buccaneers, the Raiders, maybe even the Saints trade up to 6 to snag Caleb Williams. So, I mean, this is an A+ pick. If the Buccaneers are able to get up to 6 and pick Caleb Williams, that'd be amazing. I could also see possibly if Drake Maye falls to 6, I could also see teams trade up for him. But Caleb Williams being at 6, that's an easy trade up. Good pick by the Bucs. 7, Malik Nabers to the Giants. I think that's the good pick. I think if Malik Nabers and Jayden Daniels are on the board at 7 for the Giants, I think they would go Malik Nabers over Jayden Daniels, but in my mock draft, I only had Jayden Daniels available. So I like Malik Nabers by the way, Caleb Williams, A+. Malik Nabers, I'll probably give this one an A or A-. I like the pick. At 8, we have Joe Alt to the Titans. Also a good pick. I'll give it an A, A-. It's just a good pick. He's the best tackle available. I have him over guys like Amarius Mims and J.C. Latham. So having him at 8, the Titans, I had them go J.C. Latham. I think that's a good pick. I'll give it an A for Joe Alt. At 9, we have the Saints picking Brock Bowers at 9. Um, it's not terrible, like not that bad at all. It's just like I feel like either edge or receiver, and Brock Bowers is not terrible, and he's a great blocker at the tight end position. I think I'll give this one a B plus because I don't feel like the Saints would pick Brock Bowers at 9. Something's just telling me I don't think that's what they're gonna go with, but it's not. Obviously, Brock Bowers is an amazing player. He's one of the best, and he's the best draft or tight end draft prospect since Kyle Pitts. And even if you want to say he's better, maybe before Kyle Pitts, but Brock Bowers at 9, not terrible. I want to go with it though. I'll give it a B. 10, J.C. Latham. I mean, if the Jets are able to trade down from 6 and still land at 10 and have J.C. Latham, that's a good pick. They need offensive line help, and J.C. Latham, he's the best tackle available. So I'll give this one an A plus, honestly. 11, Kool-Aid McKinstry to the Raiders. Kool-Aid McKinstry is no longer my CB1 in this class. It's now, I think it's now Nate Wiggins. I'd say Nate Wiggins. I think the gap between Nate Wiggins and Kool-Aid McKinstry is larger than the gap between Kool-Aid McKinstry and Terrion Arnold, his teammate. So if that says something, or if that means something to you, there it is. But I don't really see Terrion Arnold going this high. But Kool-Aid McKinstry at 11, it's not a terrible pick. It's just no longer my CB1. I'll give this one a B minus. Next, Johnny Newton to the Chargers. I had this exact thing mocked, so I'll give it an A plus. Rome Odunze to the Bills at 13. I had him go to I think it was the Bengals in my mock draft, but I don't mind this one. I definitely don't mind this one. The Bills need wide receiver help. I think I had them pick, was it Cooper DeJean? I think it was Cooper DeJean. So if they do end up getting Rome Odunze at 13, it's not a bad pick. I think I'll give this one an A minus. 14, Talisi Fuega. I mean, I've seen him go a lot higher in some of these newer mock drafts, so maybe 14 is not too crazy. I think I'll give it a B though. They need tackle help, but right now I probably have Amarius Mims over Talisi Fuega, and some people could argue Kingsley Suamataia would be over over Talisi Fuega. I personally would have Fuega over him, but definitely Amarius Mims. I think that if Amarius Mims is on the board at 14, which he most likely will be, the Broncos should take him over Fuega. At 15, Seahawks take Cameron Kitchens. They can use defensive back help. I would definitely lean more cornerback. But, I mean, if they plan to get rid of a guy like Jamal Adams, because he's not having an amazing season, I guess you could look for safety, but I think you have to trade down out of the spot if you're really looking for safety. I don't see any cornerback or any safety going in the first round, at least in this draft. Both Cameron Kitchens, and they had another guy later if I could find him. Cameron Kitchens and Tyler Nubin, I think they both end up as second round players, at least in my opinion. At 16, Chop Robinson to the Rams. By the way, I'll give Cameron Kitchens a C, Talisi Fuega a C+, and I'll give Chop Robinson a B+. I have Jared Verse over Chop Robinson, at least in my edge rankings. So if they were to go edge, I'd go Jared Verse instead of Chop Robinson. But Chop Robinson's a great player. You could argue he's over Jared Verse. That's why I'm giving it a B+. You could argue A- even. But it's a good pick at 16. 17, Keon Coleman to the Bengals. I also think this is a good pick. I mean, this is a great pick, honestly. I had Keon Coleman, I think, going 9 to the Saints in my mock draft. I commented, and I pinned the comment too. I would have him at 10 to the Buccaneers, and I would put Dallas Turner at 9 to the Saints. But getting him at 17 I think that's perfect. I'll give this one an A. 18, Jared Verse to the Cardinals. I'll give this one an A as well. They need edge help, and if Jared Verse is there at 18, I think it's an easy pick. 19, we have the Falcons getting Amarius Mims. The Falcons could look quarterback. I don't think Michael Penix Jr. is the best to get at 19, though. I will give this Amarius Mims pick an A- though. I don't think tackle is their highest priorities. Even I think about edge over tackle. But if Jared Verse and Chop Robinson are both off the board, then I guess Amarius Mims would be the right pick. I'll give this one a A-. Cooper DeJean at 20. I'll give this one an A. Cooper DeJean is arguably the best corner in this class. And if you're able to get the best corner in this class at 20, then what's wrong with it? It's a great pick. I could also see, like I said before, Packers go tackle, but I think Cooper DeJean is the right pick at 20. 21, Bo Nix to the Vikings. I mentioned in my mock draft that I could see him going in the first round, but I mean, even CBS has him as the 39th prospect and the 7th best quarterback. So honestly, I mean, it's not a terrible pick. They need quarterback. I had them going Michael Penix instead. But, I mean, I'll give it a B, just because I think there are better quarterbacks that you could take off the board. Michael Penix Jr., I mean, arguably Carson Beck, depends on where you stand, but I'll give this one a B. Leonard Taylor to the Colts. To the Colts at 22. I see Leonard Taylor as a second-round prospect. He could end up sneaking into the first round. You know, earlier in the season, or in the draft, I guess, process, he was viewed as a pretty much solidified first-round pick. He slipped out this season. He could still go in the first round, though, but I personally have him early second-round guy. Yes, I'd agree he's the second defensive lineman behind Johnny Newton, and 35th prospect rank is also not bad. But, again, if no edges are available, I'd look at probably cornerback. Mostly cornerback. I'll give this one a B- though. Kalen King, 23 to the Steelers. Like I said before, I have cornerbacks higher than Kalen King. I haven't seen Nate Wiggins go yet in this draft, I don't believe, unless I missed him. I haven't seen Nate Wiggins go in this, so just because of that, I'll probably give this one a B-, because I think Nate Wiggins is probably the better prospect than Kalen King. 24, we have Braylon Trice to the Texans. I'll give this one a B-. I know they really need edge help, but I think I know Rome Odunze was picked, but I think Emeka Egbuka, even Brian Thomas, more wide receiver, Xavier Legette, who I think goes in this first round as well. Probably not Xavier Worthy. I think he's more of a second-round guy at this point, but you also have Adonai Mitchell out of Texas. I think wide receiver would be the pick here, but Braylon Trice is not a bad player. I think I'll give it a B. I wanted to get him in my mock draft, but I just couldn't really find the spot for him. 25, we have Jordan Morgan. Another guy I wanted to get in my mock draft. I like Jordan Morgan out of Arizona. I just view him as a early to mid-second round guy, tackle. I probably have Patrick Paul over him. I have Kingsley Suamataia over him. The Chiefs could take tackle, but I also think this is a wide receiver pick for them. Brian Thomas, Adonai Mitchell, Emeka Egbuka is still on the board. I'd go wide receiver here, but Jordan Morgan's not a bad player. I'll give it I'll say it's a C+. Next up is Graham Barton. I did have him in my first round, and I had him to the Cowboys at 27, I believe. Yep. I think this is a wide receiver pick. If not wide receiver, I'd go corner. And with Nate Wiggins, am I tripping, or did Nate Wiggins not go yet? He has Nate Wiggins 28. Okay. With Nate Wiggins still on the board, I think this is the pick at 26. So I'll give this one a C+ just because Nate Wiggins, wide receiver. You could even argue that there's better tackles on the board than Graham Barton, but it's not a bad pick. I just give it a C+ because there's players on the board that you should take over Graham Barton. 27, Tyler Nubin. I was already talking about how I don't think any safeties will go in this first round, at least so far. I'll give this one a C just because, yes, the Cowboys could use defensive back help, especially because right now, I guess their best corner, you have Stephon Gilmore, but Deron Bland has shown out a lot this season. Then Trayvon Diggs tore his ACL a couple weeks ago. So you could use help in the secondary. I think I'd lean corner, though, with Nate Wiggins still being on the board. Tyler Nubin at 27. I'll give this one a C. 28, we already saw Nate Wiggins. I'm going to give this one an A+. It's my cornerback 1, and you're getting him at 28. Are you serious? If Nate Wiggins was on the board and Emeka Egbuka was on the board for the Lions, I'm going to go Nate Wiggins because I think he's overall the better prospect, even though they play different positions than Emeka Egbuka. I think I had the Lions taking Quinyon Mitchell in my mock draft, which I still like, but if Nate Wiggins is on the board, take Nate Wiggins. At 29, Xavier Legette. I just don't think that wide receiver is their number one priority just because they have so many playmakers, or they have a guy like, you have Christian McCaffrey, obviously, Brandon Ayuk, Deebo Samuel. Deebo Samuel and Christian McCaffrey basically play both positions, running back and wide receiver. You have a lot of playmakers, so I guess if you want to throw another one in there, it wouldn't be terrible. I just lean tackle here. Patrick Paul, I guess Kingsley Suamataia, then a couple other guys that have not crossed my mind. But Xavier Legette at 29, not terrible. I'll probably give this one a B- though, just because I think there's more needy players that you need on your team. I didn't word that right, but It's not a terrible pick, but I would definitely go a different position here. He's a 74th prospect rank, which I think is pretty crazy, and the 14th wide receiver, which I also think is crazy. So, a little disrespect from CBS there, but 29, maybe a little early for Xavier Legette. I could see him go in the first round, though. At 30, Dallas Turner drops all the way to 30. He has Dallas Turner at the third edge, unless he's considered a different position. LBS, I guess that's pounds. It doesn't say his position. So, who was higher? Did he have Chop Robinson or Verse higher? He had Jared Verse second, so he means he had Chop Robinson. He has him fifth, actually, so he has another edge over Chop Robinson. I'm wondering if that might be JT Tuimoloau. But, I mean, Dallas Turner at 30, I think that's at least an A. You could argue A+. But I'm going to give it an A just because I've seen him fall in some mock drafts. I just think all the way to 30 is a little bit extreme. I'll give it an A. At 31, Edgerrin Cooper. Same thing with safety. Same thing with running back, I guess, as well. I don't really see one going in the first round. It's definitely a need position for the Dolphins, but if you're really that set on drafting a linebacker, I think trade into the mid to early first round and get someone like, off the top of my head, I guess Trent Simpson. But 31, I'll give this one a B-. At 32, final, we have Jonah Elliss, an edge, and this is his 14th edge, who he has as the 111th prospect rank. I don't think I mentioned Jonah Elliss once in any of my mock drafts. I'm not completely familiar with him, so just because of that, I'm going to give this one a C+. Again, better edges on the board. JT Tuimoloau, I think that's a great pick if the Eagles want to take him. But I'll give it a C+, just because edge is a team need. And by the way, Quinyon Mitchell falls out of the first round. Both Texas wide receivers fall out, and Emeka Egbuka falls out. That's pretty crazy. But yeah, this is the mock draft. Overall, I'd probably give the mock draft like a C- grade, just because there's so many crazy picks. Not a great mock draft. If you want me to react to other mock drafts, make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stuff like that. But yeah, interesting mock draft from CBS here, and it's not a great one. See you next time. Peace.